Shalom, shalom, shalom. Israel, brother Amos with the Watchman for Israel. First and foremost, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, to the brothers pushing his truth in strong sincerity, laboring on the highways and byways, making their body a living sacrifice, doing all they can for the hopeful elect, for the nation of Israel, and for all those who desire learning. I want to give y'all a strong shalom to the sisters holding down in the household, reverencing their husbands, taking care of the children, being a teacher unto the younger women. I want to give y'all a strong shalom as well. And to the men and women forsaking this world and coming back to serve our God, Yahweh Hashem Yahshua, I want to compel y'all to be at the Church of Berea, to search the scriptures daily and diligently to see if the words that be spoken to you are true or not, right? Let the words of Yahweh Hashem Yahshua be true and every man a liar, right? So we're going to hop into it, right? This is about forgiving your enemy and loving your enemy, right? A lot of people don't realize that being in this truth requires a lot of forgiveness, a lot of understanding, compassion, right? And a lot of people hold animosity and grudges, right? In this cold cut, Lord willing, it's going to help Israel to forgive and not make somebody their enemy, right? This is Luke chapter 6 and verse 27. But I say unto you which hear, love your enemies, do good to them which hate you, right? And that's very important, right? You have to love your enemies, right? You have to love those who don't do good unto you, of your own people, right? Because all Israel isn't moving in the same spirit. All Israel doesn't have the perfect understanding. All Israel isn't always on one accord, right? But you got to forgive and love them, right? How the Lord forgave and loved you when you were in your peak of wickedness, right? Verse 28, bless them that curse you and pray for them which despitefully use you. And unto him that smited thee on the cheek, smited thee on the one cheek, offer also the other. And him that taketh away thy cloak, forbid not to take thy coat also, right? So no, that doesn't mean let somebody smack you on one side and smack you on the other and say, I hope that you are fulfilled with these smacks. No, that means if somebody offends you, right? Be courteous enough and understanding to know that they probably may do it again. It takes time to be able to develop the proper spirit to have in the truth, right? Let's go to Sirach chapter 6 and verse 1. Right? Instead of a friend, become not an enemy, for thereby thou shalt inherit an ill name, shame and reproach. Even so shall the sinner that have a double tongue. So instead, you may not be a friend with everybody that you know, but don't become an enemy, right? No animosity, no hatred, no anger, right? Nothing that'll cause Israel to have you fall by the wayside, right? Let's go to Proverbs 24 and 17, right? Proverbs chapter 24, verse 17, right? It says, rejoice not when thy enemy falleth, and let not thine heart be glad when he stumbleth, right? So you can't rejoice when you see the fall of your enemy. You can't rejoice when you see your enemy come to a abrupt rock bottom, right? You can't have that fall upon your people, right? You can't rejoice at that because the Lord can switch that on you. That's what the next verse says, right? At least the Lord see it and it displeased him and he turned away his wrath from you. So you're rejoicing over your enemy that falleth, even though they're Israel, right? The Most High may take that anger and that wrath unto you, and it's going to fall back upon you. So you're going to have a twice as bad fall, right? That's why it's always important to help your enemy, right? Let's go to Proverbs 25. Let's go to verse 21, right? If thy enemy be hungry, give him bread to eat, and if he be thirsty, give him water to drink. For thou shalt heap coals of fire upon his head, and the Lord shall reward thee. Right? So if you see your enemy falling on hard times, struggling, all hell breaking loose, right? Be that good Samaritan. Be that kind Samaritan that can help them out, right? And if they repay you evil for your good, the Lord will heap hot coals of fire upon their head, but he'll reward you for being just, being righteous, being honorable, right? There's always a reward for something. It's always a reward for your good deeds. Remember that, right? And letting go of hatred, malice, envying, all those things pushed aside so that we can show love unto Israel who need it, right? Let's go to Romans chapter 12 and verse 20. Right, Romans chapter 12 and verse 20. It's like it. And it reads, therefore, I lost it. Oh, here we go. Therefore, if thy enemy hunger, feed him. If he thirst, give him drink. For in so doing thou shalt heap hot coals of fire on his head. Right? So you can't take it upon your heart to have vengeance upon your enemy. Like, yeah, I'm going to destroy him. I'm going to do this because I want to do that. I can't stand this man. I hate this man X, Y, and Z. Or I hate this woman X, Y, and Z. Right? That's not how we're moving in this truth. That's not how the spirit of the Lord is supposed to be moving amongst Israel in these last days. That's the spirit of Esau, spirit of hatred, the spirit of reviling. That's the works of the flesh. Right? The works of the spirit is manifold in your forgiveness, your humbleness, your humility, your compassion. All those exercise and work to praise the name of the Lord. Right? Let's go to Matthew. Right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 18. We're going to go down to verse 21. Right? It says, then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me and I forgive him till 7 times? So Peter's like, Lord, how many times am I supposed to forgive this man for doing all these things unto me? Right? How often should I sit there and do this? Right? What the Lord said. Yahweh shall saith unto him, I say not until thee until 7 times, but until 70 times 7. That's how often you got to forgive your brother. Right? Salaki.
Why don't you try and call the number again?
Okay. They're getting in?
No, those are frozen.
Okay.
So call the number again so that they know that you're still here. So that 9 o'clock, it's already 9 o'clock.
Okay, I'm about to call them now. Okay. All right, thank you. Salaki. Right? Let's go to Sirach, chapter 28 and verse 28. Right, Sirach, chapter 28 and verse 2. Forgive thy neighbor the hurt that he hath done unto thee, so shall thy sins be forgiven when thou prayest. So you got to forgive those people of the hurt that they done unto you. Because if you hold on to that, right, the Lord not going to hearken unto your prayer. The Lord not going to listen unto your prayer. Right? One man beareth hatred against another, and doeth he seek pardon from the Lord, he showeth no mercy to a man which is like himself, and doeth ask forgiveness of his own sins. Right? You got to really be forgiven in this truth to be forgiven. Right? You don't make documentaries about your brothers. Right? You don't hate your brother. You don't spit on your brother. You don't fight your brother. You don't do any wickedness to your brother and expect the Lord to forgive you of these trespasses. Right? These things are going to heap up hot coals upon you. Right? Let's go to Proverbs. Right, Proverbs chapter 16. We're going to go down to verse 7. When a man's ways please the Lord, he maketh even his enemies to be at peace with him. Right? So when your ways please the Lord and you start moving in the spirit more, you start conducting yourself the way that Israel is supposed to move, the Lord will have the people who you least expect to be at peace with you. Right? you start to drop down borders and walls that you had up because of that person. Then you start being more loving. You may find family in an enemy that you had, right? So we're gonna end off with these closing precepts right here. Right, let's go to Ephesians chapter 4 and verse 32. And it reads, and ye be kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Yahweh, for Yahweh's sake, have forgiven you. So be kind, be tender, forgiving, loving, move in the spirit of Yahweh in these last days so that you can be forgiven, that you can be that example unto Israel who may not know. Right? Colossians chapter 3 and verse 13. Or verse 12. Put on, therefore, as the elect of God, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, long-suffering, forbearing one another and forgiving one another. If any man have a quarrel against any, even as Christ forgave you, so also do ye. So these are how you put on the attributes of being the elect of the Most High, by being merciful, kind, humble, meek, long-suffering, forbearing, and forgiving. Right? I know it may seem hard, but it's all of the Spirit of the Lord to be able to do this. Right? And the last precept before I close out, right? This is Proverbs chapter 10 and verse 12. Hatred stirreth up strife, but love covereth all sins. So show love, Israel, get your sins forgiven, and be more at peace with the men around you and the women around you in Israel. With that